Hi, everybody. Okay, thanks for joining. This time I would like to talk to you guys about something super important, probably one of the most important topics as far as weight loss and overall health, really. Today I want to talk to you about the dangerous connection between stress and weight. Before I get into that, though, I'm going to start with my disclaimer. So, okay, in this video and in all subsequent videos from here on out, I do not make any claims. I do not claim that any product, strategy, or plan will treat, prevent, or cure any disease or illness. None of the products that I discuss have been approved by the FDA, and it is advised that you seek the advice of your doctor before changing any current health strategy or plan, or before begin taking any new supplements. So, okay, that is out of the way. So, like I said, today I wanted to talk about stress. I'm going to talk about a lot of different things. So I would encourage you, if you're able, to go ahead and grab a pen or some paper, whatever, because you might want to take some notes as I go, because a lot of this it's important stuff. All of us have some type of stress, but it does affect our health in very real severe ways. So I encourage you to take notes. This is also a very personal session video that I'm doing because it's probably one of the hardest things that I personally have had to learn. I did not learn this one easy, and it took me a lot of time, and this has probably affected me more than any other topic I'm going to talk to you about. So I'll try to be brief, but know that this is an important one for me, so that's where I'm coming from. So, okay, stress. So here's what happens in times of stress. So, you know, when your brain detects a threat, let's say there's an intruder in your house. So this triggers the release of a whole slew of chemicals in the body, including adrenaline and cortisol. Okay, so these are good chemicals, because basically, you know, your brain and your body, they're like kind of suiting up for battle. You know, they're gearing up, ready to take on this threat, this intruder. Adrenaline kind of gives you that boost that you're going to need to, you know, fight or flight is what it's called. Whether you're going to take on the intruder or you're going to run for the hills, it gives you that boost. Okay, so but once the adrenaline wears off, cortisol, which is known as the stress hormone, that kind of lingers around. It kind of stays in the blood. So the reason why it does that is because it's triggering, it's signaling for your body to replenish what was lost. So basically, it's trying to signal your body to eat, to trigger it to replace the glucose that lost in what it thinks, you know, it lost during that running for the hills or taking on the intruder. It assumes that there was a lot of physical activity based on the adrenaline that it boosted you for, and now it's time to replenish. The problem here is this adrenaline cortisol release, it happens with any threat or stress, not just with intruders. So that's a problem, because when our bodies release these chemicals for, say, a work deadline or an unpaid bill or interactions with unhealthy relationships, we're not getting the activity, okay? But we're still gearing up, okay? We still have that adrenaline, even though it's not a physical thing that we're doing. And the body then still has the cortisol, and it's still signaling to replenish. Even though there was no activity, no glucose lost, and you didn't burn up all these calories fighting the intruder or sprinting away out of your home, the body still acts as if you did. And so this unpaid bill, this unhealthy relationship, it's the cortisol then is making you want to replenish, want to eat. You know, way back in the olden days, like centuries ago, our ancestors, they were fighting off animals, and that were trying to protect their land and trying to prevent famine. And so, their bodies, they adapted by learning to kind of store these fat supplies for the long haul, because they would need it, and that's their body, that was their rhythm. The problem for us now is we don't go hunting for our food. We're not fighting off animals, protecting our land, or we're not doing that type of it's not that type of stress that we're dealing with, I guess is what I want to say. Our stresses now are things like I just said, they're the bills, their relationships, their work, they're managing just too much on our plate, those types of things. So what happens is, when we're chronically stressed by life, we're prone to get this extra layer of what's called visceral fat around the bellies. Here's the thing, okay? So the belly actually has an abundant supply of blood vessels in it with cortisol receptors in it. And that is supposed to make the whole flight or fight process run even smoother, more efficiently. Scientists have actually shown, in studies, that belly fat is an active tissue. Okay, this is huge. It actually acts as an endocrine organ, and it responds to stress. And it actually welcomes more fat to be deposited in the belly during times of stress. So this becomes like an ongoing cycle until we take steps to stop the cycle, to either manage our stress or do something to pull us out of that. It's a vicious cycle where excess cortisol, it actually will slow down your metabolism, but yet at the same time, it's signaling the body to want to eat more, but you're eating more with a slower metabolism, gaining more fat in an area where there's cortisol receptors. So it creates this big, vicious cycle. And then all of a sudden, there's weight gain, a lot of times, especially in the belly. But it's not just weight. So excess cortisol in the body has so many other damaging health effects, negative ones. I mean, big ones. It can suppress your immune system, decrease bone formation, cause heart disease, affects your memory, causes inflammation. There's like so many different things that it does negatively in the body if there's ongoing too much of it, even though it is a positive thing and necessary for the body for these stressful situations. And if it goes on for too long, if this cycle goes on for too long and your system has too much adrenaline, too much cortisol, constantly overstimulated, this can cause what's known as adrenal fatigue. Now, some doctors will say there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. I'm going to just talk about it anyways, as someone who not only has it, but has dealt with it for quite some time. So when the adrenal glands are overstimulated for a long period of time, they begin to weaken, like I guess anything would, pancreas or anything. Eventually, the adrenals will weaken so much that they just don't know how to adequately respond to stress anymore. And this is a problem because your adrenal glands actually produce many hormones, over 50 hormones actually, 50 that are actually responsible and involved in every single bodily function that we have. Many of them are essential functions for life. So the adrenal system is more important than we think. So what can we do then to manage stress and to kind of get our body to react to it a little bit more appropriately? First of all, number one thing, get some sleep. This was a very hard thing for me to learn, very hard thing. Because in my head, when I'm stressed and I got too much on my plate, the first thing I want to say is, okay, I'm just going to do that after everybody's in bed. And then what do? You know, I stay up and I pull all-nighters, or I stay up half the night anyways, and I'm getting everything done that I needed to get done. The problem is stress or lack of sleep. It also increases cortisol, okay? I didn't realize this at first, and that was my like go-to plan, you know, oh, I'll just pull an all-nighter. I'll get it done. I don't have too much on my plate. I can handle this. No, I couldn't. I was doing it at a time when I should have been sleeping. Lack of sleep, okay, it disrupts not only your cortisol, it can increase cortisol, but it actually will disrupt the functioning of other chemicals in the body, like leptin, that control appetite. So it's not uncommon when you're super exhausted to have these cravings or want to eat more. It's a legitimate physical thing that's happening in your body. Then also, maybe you're drinking more caffeine, more coffee, because you're not getting enough sleep. Caffeine increases cortisol. So again, it's this vicious circle, this cycle. I would say that you need at least 7 hours of sleep, preferably 8, every single night. If you suspect you have stress issues or adrenal issues, or you're not dealing with cortisol or adrenaline right, then probably more. And maybe you're thinking, but I have so much to do, and how the heck am I ever going to find a way? It's so important. Take it from somebody who did it wrong for many, many years. It's extremely important. Number 2, I would say diet. Okay, so since cortisol helps regulate blood sugar, you know, then keeping blood sugar levels balanced is going to be key to this also. And it's going to take some of the stress off of the adrenal glands. See, this whole endocrine system, it's all intricately connected. It's all working together. I talked a lot about blood sugar levels and balance in the last, well, a couple of videos. So go ahead and make sure you watch those if you have not already. I hope you're going in order. But the other thing I wanted to mention, you know, I mentioned it in one of the videos and also on my website, but staggering. Okay, so cortisol levels are usually highest in the morning, and then they kind of decline throughout the day. So it's really important to eat the larger meals in the morning, a larger breakfast, then lunch, and then kind of taper off as the day progresses. Like I said, there's more information. If you haven't been there yet, there's more information on my website, www.rebuildingyourtemple.com. It's under diet plans, and then click glucose strategy, and it will talk about that. But staggering helps with balancing your blood sugars and cortisol, and it's going to help the body prepare itself actually for a more restful sleep at night. And sleep helps, you know, less stress, less cortisol. So it's all intricately connected. The next thing, number 3, I would say, is exercise. And I talked a little bit about this yesterday in the exercise video. I was gasping up the hill. I mentioned that, you know, exercise will help pull that extra cortisol out of your body, but that's because your body is doing what it should in times of perceived threat. It's doing something physical, and it's burning that glucose and that adrenaline and that the calories and stuff. So when you have that then cortisol and you want to eat, well, you just got done exercising, so it's okay then. It's not going to set you into a cycle. But the other thing I did want to touch on, though, exercise is a positive thing. It can help reduce stress, but you know, when we're exhausted, that's already putting a lot of stress on the adrenal system. So if you do suspect that you have adrenal issues, I just want to say to be careful, and be careful if you're super stressed, and you know, be careful if you already have a really intense workout routine, because it puts stress on the adrenal. So if you say you you have a really stressful life going on right now. You've got a bunch of stuff that's really maxing you out. And you have this really intense workout routine, and you don't feel good right now, you might want to lay off the exercise. I'm not saying completely, do not lay off it completely. I'm saying maybe something less intense until you can get the stress under control, just so that you're not causing further damage to the adrenal system. Number 4, okay, supplements. So the first and most important thing that I want to recommend as far as supplements is magnesium. And here is why magnesium is important. Okay, so first, magnesium is the calming mineral. It's necessary, especially to kind of maintain that state of calm, peace, tranquility. But here's the thing, okay, so when there's a stimulation of the adrenal glands, the stress response, okay, it increases the secretion of these hormones that actually will deplete minerals like magnesium from the body. So stress actually like changes the whole metabolism. It causes the body to hang on to minerals that boost you and stimulate you, and get rid of minerals and nutrients that are needed to help calm you. So eventually, if this stress continues for long periods of time, the body can actually lose its ability to store calming minerals like magnesium. So, in other words, your body loses magnesium during stress, but it's magnesium that it needs during stress to be calm. So, stressful situations require more magnesium. How do you get more magnesium? I really wish, as a health coach, as someone who's so passionate about nutrition, I really wish I could say, just eat more magnesium-rich foods. You know, foods like spinach, almonds, pumpkin seeds, etc. I wish I could just say, eat those and you'll be fine. Truth is, I personally do not think it is possible for us to do that. Our food is not as rich as it used to be, because magnesium, okay, is a mineral that comes from the soil. And today, the soil is just not what it used to be. You know, crops are really overused, and the crops themselves, the soil itself, is depleted of magnesium. So the plants are not getting magnesium. The plants are depleted. So even if we eat tons of magnesium-rich foods, you're eating spinach every single day, it's not as magnesium-rich as it was when our grandparents ate it or whatever. I mean, so then add to that the fact that we are more stressed as a society and we need more magnesium. And then add things that deplete magnesium further, things like alcohol, for example. Alcohol, did you know that even on a cube, here and there, one time, can actually double the elimination rate of magnesium that studies have found. So basically, you know, when you're stressed out and I need a drink, I need a few drinks, you're actually losing twice as much magnesium doing that during a stressful situation, when actually you need to be replenishing it probably doubly. So there's so many things that factor into this that I really don't think eating spinach and almonds is gonna actually get it done. Magnesium is so crucial, so necessary for the body. It's actually involved in 300 different bodily functions, 300 very, very important bodily functions. And there has been studies done, okay, and studies estimate that only 20% of the population is getting even half of the magnesium that they need every day to remain healthy. 20% is getting half. Like I said, it's because of the soil, it's because of our stress, it's because of all these other things that we do. No sleep, too much caffeine. I mean, how many people are drinking energy drinks constantly? I mean, these are robbing your body of magnesium. Everybody needs to understand how important magnesium is. And I feel like a good portion of the population is deficient. So, okay, so maybe you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm just going to go to my doctor and I'm going to get tested and see where, my levels are at. Been there, done that. The problem is only 1% of the magnesium in your body is actually in your blood. So you're going to go and you're going to get this blood test, okay, for magnesium, and it's going to be inaccurate, I'm going to tell you. I personally, if you suspect, based on any of the things that I've said so far, that you are deficient or could be deficient or might just need some calming minerals based on what you got going on, I would suggest supplementing with magnesium. The single best magnesium I have found that I use is Plexus BioCleanse. It not only has one of the best forms of magnesium, one of the best, most absorbable forms of magnesium in it, but it also has vitamin C in it, and you can't read that, but it also has a bioflavonoid complex, which actually enhances the use of vitamin C in it too. So it's got a bunch of different things in it. So this, I'm going to talk about this in upcoming videos too, when I talk about gut health. But this is, I never leave home without this. I love BioCleanse. But that is the magnesium that I recommend. And like I said, I have used other ones. Before I came on board with Plexus years ago, but that one, there's no comparing. Okay, so where am I? Number 5, how to manage stress. Okay, make lifestyle changes. Okay, so if you have a lot on your plate and you are maxed out and you're feeling the effects of stress, weight, anxiety, lack of sleep, etc., then you need to do something about it. Listen, I know this is hard. Like I said, this whole topic has been the hardest for me to learn in my life. I mean, I have gone through the way this was the hardest. You need to prioritize. You need to look at your schedule if you're maxed out, and then prioritize and say, okay, what things can I cut out? And then say no. I know some of you are cringing. You don't want to say no. I get it. I'm a people pleaser too, and I have a hard time saying no when somebody asks me for something or needs something. It's in my nature. Okay, yes, I can do this. And I don't take it into consideration. I'm already maxed out. I do now because I got to a point where I had to, but this is so important. There's no harm in saying no. If you really can't do it, you have to put yourself first when you're trying to regain your health. So in line with that kind of is number 6, relationships. So if you have this relationship or several relationships that are maybe toxic, maybe they are just very unhealthy and they are a cause of a great deal of stress for you, I want you to ask yourself if there's a way for you to put some distance in between you and this person or these people. Now, I am not saying, I'm not saying be a jerk, like, I'll screw you. I'm getting healthy and you're out. I am not saying be a jerk. I'm saying, is there a way for you to put some distance, maybe try to space out visits or make conversations a little more superficial if you have to, or maybe it's bad enough that you just have to say, you know what, I just need some time. I need some time right now to just, I got to be by myself and I got to deal with some stuff in myself right now. There's no harm in doing that. Again, if you're not being a jerk, there's no harm in doing that to kind of get yourself back on track. If that's the biggest source of stress in your life, then I'm going to say maybe you do need to do that. So, okay, you've heard of it. You've heard the talk on stress. So let's hear it. Think it. I want you to think about all of the different things that I mentioned in this video. And I want you to think about where your biggest stress comes from. Where do you fall in? Which one of these things, or how many of these things really relate to you the most? And then see it. I want you to see yourself. Like, look at your life. Look at, okay, I'm always stressed out when I am in this situation or with these people, or this financial thing, or this whatever is the biggest cause of my stress. See yourself. See how you think back and look at your day to day, I guess. And then do it. Do it. Okay, so I want you to do one thing that I've mentioned here. One thing at least, if you can. Maybe you need to do more, maybe you can do more, but at least try to do one thing. You know, maybe either stagger your calories, like I had talked about, from breakfast, then lunch through dinner, or maybe begin taking a magnesium supplement, order your BioCleanse, or cut things out of your schedule and prioritize, say no, or maybe distance yourself from certain toxic relationships. But do at least one thing that can, or get more sleep. That's another one. But do one thing at least that's going to help you be less stressed. And this is a huge one. Please don't underestimate how important this one is, because it is extremely important. I know it feels like I am overly stressing this. And yes, it's because it's a personal topic to me, but it's also something that I see in other people as a health coach. And there's a reason why they call stress the silent killer, that it has real damaging effects on the body. Most of you know my weight story, that I have struggled with weight. But I want to kind of share my story with you that's stress related, so you understand where I'm coming from. Like I said, this was my biggest issue to deal with by far the hardest lesson for me to learn. It took the most time for me to learn, and it had the most traumatic effects on my body, actually. I have had stress. Oh my gosh, I had so much stress my whole life, really. When I was younger, I had so much adrenaline pumping through my body that I actually developed heart problems. I developed blood sugar problems from it, anxiety, whatever, but I developed heart problems from it. It actually caused me to develop a second heart rate. My heart rate, when the doctors would check it, it'd be like at 250, 270 beats per minute. But what was actually happening was there was two circuits that they were detecting. The adrenaline had kind of developed an extra circuit, an extra heartbeat. So I had to have 5 different heart procedures to correct this. I'd have one, but because I had so much stress still unmanaged, and then I had developed blood sugar problems and all this other stuff, because I wasn't managing that, it kept coming back, and they would have to do it again. And each time, the first time I had it done, they said, okay, well, this will correct it, you'll be fine. No, I was fine for a little while, and it came back. And it wasn't until I started managing these other issues that I didn't need any of them. I didn't need any other procedures. Unfortunately, though, I did a lot of real damage to my body. I have adrenal fatigue now. My body just does not know how to store magnesium anymore at all. So I actually have to take an insane amount of magnesium every day, daily, because I don't store it. But this helps. This has helped me tremendously. I absolutely need sleep now. I just do. And I have to say no when I'm maxed. This is a hard one. I know, I get it. But please take it from me that if you don't manage your stress will manage you, and not in a good way. Not in a good way at all. So I guess what I wanted to just kind of relay to you guys is to please take this seriously. And that's why it seems like more of a lifestyle thing, but it's not. It affects weight. It affects overall health. So I know I went kind of long this time, but I really felt like I needed to get all that out there. So that is that on stress. Like I said, next time I'm going to start a whole section on gut health, which is as equally important. I'll probably do a couple videos on that, but that's all for stress. So go ahead and like, comment, whatever, so that you're entered into the drawing for the multivitamin. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.